Hello, and welcome to what is officially episode 1 of the Uncaged Feminine. My name is Heidi, and I want to tell you something right out of the gate. This was not supposed to be the first episode. In fact, this episode almost didn't happen at all, but I'm glad it did, and I'm really excited to be talking about this today because I know a lot of you listening probably suffer from the same infliction. I originally recorded a different episode for the launch. I scripted it, grabbed my phone, and just playing around recorded it. I was really only experimenting to see how my voice sounded, if I was talking too fast, that sort of thing. I even ad-libbed a part by sharing a memory that popped up as I was talking. I listened to it when I was done, and it wasn't bad, but I knew I could make it better because, well, me. So I recorded it again and again and again. But the crazy thing is, as unpolished as it was, that first recording turned out to be the best version. Every time I tried to do it over, more structured, more put together, more on brand, it lost something. It got more robotic, more rehearsed, and way less authentic. And what's even scarier, this podcast is literally called The Uncaged Feminine. And even though I wasn't aware of it yet, here I was putting myself in the cage of what I think society believes a podcast is, air quote, supposed to sound like. I was putting myself in the cage of having to be perfect and my shit together before I was allowed to let my voice be heard. After listening to each of the recordings again, I decided I was going to publish the original. So last weekend, I sat down to prep everything for publishing. I opened the editing software, and something I usually should fly through pretty easily. I'm fairly technically savvy, but for some reason, nothing was working. Nothing flowed. I hit glitch after glitch after glitch. So, completely frustrated, I decided to walk away. Told myself I'd come back to it in a day or two. In the meantime, I thought, well, I should find some music for the intro. And listen, I found lots of options, tons of them, but none of them felt right. Either they were too peppy or too polished, too generic. I wanted music that felt raw and fierce and untamed, something that matched the energy of what the uncaged feminine really is. But I couldn't find it. So frustrated again, I decided to let that simmer for a couple of days as well. And I walked away from the whole project to give it and myself a break. And here's something you should know about me. I have perfectionism, procrastination. Not sure if that's an actual term, but we're going to make it one today. You know, it's that thing where you use perfectionism to delay doing the thing, where you say you really want something, but use the fact it might not be so called perfect to avoid what you are really feeling, fear. Let's face it, this is scary. I have all sorts of things running through my head before I'm hitting publish on this podcast. Will my friends and family think I'm crazy? Will I get criticism or even hate mail? What if nobody listens to it? And then this new moon in Leo rolled in, this potent moment to plant seeds for our future, for our bigness, our voice. And I realized something. Maybe I'm not supposed to be polished. Maybe I was hitting roadblock after roadblock because this podcast isn't meant to sound polished right now. Maybe at this point in time, my voice isn't meant to be perfectly edited with the right music, the filters, and the perfect transitions. Because the truth is, I've done the polished thing before. I've played the good girl, the professional, I've worn the mask of the put together woman who does have her shit together version. And I lost myself there. And that's not what the uncaged feminine is about. She's messy. She's raw. She's unrehearsed. She doesn't wait until it's perfect. She just moves anyway. She speaks. She riffs. She rants. She drops the occasional F-bomb. She says and has lots of long pauses sometimes between her sentences because her mind is going faster than her mouth can keep up. And she publishes the damn podcast anyway, even when the music is missing, the editing is minimal, and her voice shakes a little at the start. And to answer my earlier questions, so what if people think I'm crazy? So what if people hate it? So what if nobody listens? Will it be the end of my world? No. So when I'm done recording, I'm going to do as Mel Robbins says to do in her 5-second rule theory. I'm going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to hit publish. Then I'm going to be proud of myself because so far 2025 has been a year of pushing myself past my comfort zones. A metaphor just popped into my head. See if I can explain it. My healing journey so far for the last 5 years kind of reminds me of a hot air balloon. You know, when it's being prepared for flight, it's laying out on the ground first and it's being filled with hot air. Then it starts to form, but it's still laying on the ground. That's what my journey so far has felt like with the healing that I'm preparing. But this year kind of feels like the part where it's received enough air and it starts picking itself up, standing up straight and tall, and getting ready for flight. In other words, it's ready to leave its comfort zone, the ground. So this is it. This is episode 1, unpolished, unapologetic. I don't know what this podcast will grow into. I don't even know if I need to know right now. Maybe someday I'll add intro music and a polished opening. Honestly, I'm just going to roll with that as it flows. What I do know is that this is how it begins, not with a curated brand voice or flawless rollout, but with vulnerability and truth. And because you're listening to this, I want you to ask yourself something. Where are you caging yourself in perfectionism? Where are you waiting until it's more polished, more professional, and more ready before you take action? And what would happen if you just let yourself do it anyway? So here's a journaling prompt if you want one. I'm a huge proponent of journaling, by the way. Ask yourself this: where have I been dimming or delaying my truth in order to appear more put together out of fear of being seen? You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy. You don't have to be perfect to be seen or to have your voice heard. Thanks for being here with me for the real first episode. I don't have a fancy outro yet either. I don't even have theme music. But I do have this podcast, and maybe for now that's enough. I would love it if you joined me at my website, theuncagedfeminine.com, where you can access my blog and even join my email list to have articles delivered straight to your inbox. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.